Vasudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakteya Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, Narad concludes his teachings to Vasudeva. Text number 34 onwards. So Shikar Bhajan ji is speaking about different incarnations, and now he is giving into details about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tyaktva Sudustayaj Asurepsit Rajya Lakshmim Dharmisht Are Vachasa Yadgadaranyam Mayamrigam Daite Psitam Anvadhavad Vande Mahapurushate Charanar Vindam. O Mahapurush, I worship your lotus feet. You gave up the association of goddess of fortune and all her opulence, which is most difficult to renounce and is hankered after even by the great demigods. Being the most faithful follower of the path of your religion, you just left for the forest in obedience to a Brahman's curse. Out of sheer mercifulness, you chased after the fallen conditioned souls who are always in pursuit of the false enjoyment of illusion, and at the same time engaged in searching out your own desired object, Lord Shyamsundar. So these are, in a nutshell, Mahaprabhu's pastimes are mentioned here. According to Vaishnavacharya, this important verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam is understood to describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna, and also Lord Sri Ramachandra. So they all did the same, but Mahaprabhu is especially glorified here. We'll see. This verse appears within the discussion by the sage Karbhajan of the Yuga Avataras, or the different incarnations of the personality of Godhead, who deliver the conditioned souls of each age. The prayers ending with the words Vande Mahapurushate Charanaravinda are understood to glorify the incarnation of Lord Krishna in Kali Yuga, known as Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived for 24 years in Navadvip as a householder and enjoyed immense popularity among both scholars and ordinary persons. His Sankirtan movement was completely supported by the local government, even though it was Muslim. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had the pleasure of marrying the goddess of fortune. No ordinary woman of the material world, no matter how gorgeous she may be, can in any way compare with the beautiful goddess of fortune. Everyone in the universe, including Lord Brahma, is searching after the goddess of fortune. Therefore, it is stated here, Surepsita, even the demigods, Lord Brahma is also hankering, searching after Surepsita. And that was the wife of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna appearing as a Brahman, and therefore is certainly Dharmishta, or the most religious. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always Dharmishta, whether he appears as a cowherd boy, a great king, or a Brahman, because the Lord himself is original source and personification of all religious principles. However, in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are very few political or economic activities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as a great philosopher, a Brahman, and thus he certainly Dharmishta. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, 17th chapter of Adi Lila, it is described that a certain Brahman who was well known for being harsh and cursing others could not enter the Kirtan hall where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performing Kirtan because the door was locked. So Mahaprabhu used to have Kirtan at Shrivas Thakur, Shrivas Angan, and the doors were locked because these were not at night, whole night they would have Kirtan, and Mahaprabhu did not want any unqualified person to enter the Kirtan. So actually unqualified persons cannot enter the Kirtan. Kirtan is from outwardly it is just chanting and dancing, chanting of the holy names and dancing in the kirtan. But when Mahaprabhu was performing his kirtan in Shrivasa Angan among all his internal or personal associates, it is considered it was non-different than the Ras Leela. And Ras Leela, not everybody is allowed to enter Ras Leela, Krishna with his gopis. So this Brahman could not enter. So what he did, he got very agitated in the morning and breaking his Brahman thread, he cursed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the next day on the bank of the Ganges, saying, I shall now curse you, for your behavior has greatly aggrieved me. You shall be bereft of all material happiness. So everybody curses or says things according to their own viewpoint. So he thought, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't have material happiness, he cannot be happy. So Mahaprabhu was very jubilant. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt great jubilation within himself, since his mission was Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, to give up the illusion of material sense gratification and staunchly engage 24 hours a day in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took this curse as a blessing, and soon after the Lord took sannyas. Thus it is stated in this verse that by the words of the Aryan, the Brahman, Arya Vachasa, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and then after touring South India, traveled through various forests of India on the way to Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted especially to preserve the prestige of the Brahman class, and therefore he decided to keep the Brahman's curse intact. Of course, as a Lord, he was not bound by anybody's curse, but he wanted to keep the respect or prestige of Brahmins. So he kept it intact. Srila Vaishnava Chakravarti Thakur has explained the word Maya Mrigam as follows. Maya means one's so-called wife, children, bank account, which keep one firmly bound up in the material bodily concept of life. The word Mrigam indicates Mrigyati, or to search out. Thus Maya Mrigam indicates the conditioned living entity who's always frantically searching for the latest, up to the minute sense gratification in the material bodily concept of society, friendship, and love. Anvadhavat indicates that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always visibly going here and there, searching after the fallen conditioned souls. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes embrace the conditioned souls on the pretext of religious friendship or ecstasy. But actually, the Lord was touching the bodies of the conditioned souls to pull them out of the ocean of material existence and hurl them into the ocean of ecstatic love of Godhead. So Mahaprabhu, on the pretext of he was touching or he was embracing conditioned souls, in the process he was giving them Krishna Prem. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the most merciful and munificent incarnation of the Lord, and whose mercy surpassed the bounds of mundane discrimination in the matter of caste, color, and creed. So obviously he was beyond that. The word Daitya can be explained as follows. The Sanskrit word Daya means mercy. Thus, by grammatical derivation, the word used in this verse, Daitya, indicates that because of being the most merciful, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was busily engaged in rescuing the fallen conditioned souls who were completely distracted and bewildered by the external illusory energy of the Lord. The quality of being the most merciful is part and parcel of the character of the Mahapurusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, this verse also describes the incarnations of Lord Krishna himself in his original blackish form. Thus the word Surepshita Rajya Lakshmi indicates Shri Mathura Sampatim, or the opulence of Mathura. Mathura is described in Vedic literature as the reservoir of all opulence because of the touch of the Lord's lotus feet in that precinct. And also Krishna appeared in Mathura. But Krishna, although taking birth in the opulent city of Mathura, transferred himself to the forest village of Vrindavan. In this case, the word Arya Vachasa indicates the order of Lord Krishna's original parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. So, in this context, the words Maya Mrigam indicate the special exalted relationship between Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna. Maya also indicates the internal potency of Krishna, Yoga Maya. The original form of Lord Krishna's internal potency is Srimati Radharani. Due to the inconceivable love of Srimati Radharani, Lord Krishna becomes easily controlled by her. Thus, Mrigam or animal in this case indicates Krida Mrigam or toy animal. So here it can also mean Krishna became a toy in the hands of Radharani and the gopis. So this verse also can indicate Lord Ramchandra. Although the Lord is completely independent and detached from everything, he becomes attached to his pure devotees due to their love for him. In the great capital of Ayodhya, all of the citizens loved Ramchandra more than can be described. In this context, Aryavachasa means that by the order of his father, who was just like his guru, Ramchandra gave up everything and went to the forest. There he exhibited his great affection for Mother Sita and chased after Maya Mrigam, or the illusory deer that had been created by the trick of Ravana. That this golden deer was especially desired by Srimati Sita Devi is indicated by the words Daitaye Pisita. So again, there are details of these pastimes of Lord Ram or Krishna also. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will read about him in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this verse could indicate any of the three incarnations. But since Karbhajan Rishi was describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the previous verses, so it is chances that he meant Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And here it is said, everyone should follow the example of the sage Karbhajan and worship the lotus feet of the Mahaprabhu, the Mahapurusha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One should not rot on the platform of mental speculation and whimsical interpretation, but actually revive his lost relationship with the absolute truth by surrendering to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who are worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are deriving wonderful spiritual results and are tasting the fruit of love of Krishna. Therefore, Vande Mahapurusate Charanaravinda. Let us humbly bow down at the lotus feet of the original personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Mahapurusha glorified within Srimad Bhagavatam. Evam yuganurupabhyam Bhagwan yugvartibhi manujayajyate rajan shreya samishwaro harihi. Thus, O King, the Supreme Lord Hari is a giver of all desirable benefits of life. Intelligent human beings worship the particular forms and names that the Lord manifests in different ages. The word Yuganurupa Bhyam is significant here. Anurupa means suitable or appropriate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, anxiously desires that all conditioned living entities come back home, back to Godhead, for an eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Thus the Lord reveals himself in each of the four ages, Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali, in a form appropriate for worship by the human beings of that age. The Supreme Lord is described in terms of his color and names as Shukla, white or the most pure in Satyuga, and as red, dark blue and black, respectively in Treta, Dwapar and Kali. Okay, black in Kali, but that could be for Kalki Avatar. Thus, although in each age, various names suitable for glorifying the Lord are given, such as Hansa and Suparna and Satyuga, Vishnu in Yagya and Treta Yoga and Vasudeva and Sankarshan in Dwapar Yoga. Similar names are not given for Kali Yuga, although such names exist in order to avoid disclosing cheaply the truth of the incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Kali Yuga, human society is infested with hypocrisy and superficiality. There is a strong tendency toward imitation and fraud in this age. Therefore, the incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealed in Vedic literature in a confidential, discreet way, so that it will be known to the authorized persons who can then propagate the mission of the Lord on the earth. We actually see in this modern age that many foolish and ordinary persons claim to be God or incarnations. There are many cheap philosophies and academies that promise for a moderate fee to make one God in a short time. In America, one famous religious group promises its followers that they will all become the supreme Lord in heaven. And there is not just one famous religious group, there are many. Such bogus preaching goes on in the name of Christianity. Thus, were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name widely spoken of in Vedic literature, there would soon be a veritable plague of imitation Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's manifesting the world or infesting the world. Therefore, to prevent this pandemonium, discretion is exercised in the Vedic literatures in Kali Yuga. And in a sober, concealed way, the actual followers of Vedic culture are informed through the Vedic mantras of the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This discreet system, selected by the Lord himself for his appearance in Kali Yuga, is proving to be greatly successful on the earth planet. And throughout the world, millions of people are chanting the holy names of Krishna without the unbearable harassment of thousands of imitations of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So to prevent and also so that cheap imitations don't disappear, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called a Channa Avatar, or a hidden incarnation. So also so that people don't imitate him, but rather follow him, follow his example, and follow his teachings of Sankirtan Yajna. Then they get benefited. Kalim sabhajayante arya gulagya sar bhagina yatra sankirtane neva sarvasvartho abhilabhyate. Those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened persons worship Kali Yuga because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtan. It is stated here that among the four ages, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga is actually the best, because in this age, the Lord mercifully distributes the highest perfection of consciousness, namely Krishna consciousness, very freely. And not just any Kali Yuga is best. Especially this Kali Yuga, where we are at, is the best. Why? Because as we studied, Krishna appears in one day of Brahmaji, and that too in the 7th Manu's 28th Dwapar Yuga. And in the following Kali Yuga, Krishna Chaitanya himself, Krishna appears as Lord Chaitanya himself in the following Kali Yuga, which was this Kali Yuga. Rest of the Kali Yugas, Krishna Chaitanya doesn't appear. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, but that is not Shri Krishna himself. That's Lord Narayan. So, in this Kali Yuga, and the special mercy of Mahaprabhu is by chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is Hare Krishna Mahamantra is same in all Kali Yugas. But what is so special? Because it came from Shri Krishna Chaitanya himself. So the result is one gets Golokera Prem. A Prem, Krishna Prem for Golok, Vrindavan. Other Kali Yugas, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can go to Vaikuntha. Of course, for us fallen souls like us, even Vaikuntha is good. Nothing wrong. Of course, there's nothing wrong with Vaikuntha. But the topmost Krishna Prem of Golok Vrindavan, that's only available in this Kali Yuga because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Huge difference. So somehow or other, for whatever reasons, we have done plenty of Agyat Sukriti to be appeared in this Kali Yuga and be associated with Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan Yajna. So this is really our good fortune, but It will be really better fortune if we take it up seriously. That's all. The nature of an advanced person is to search for the essence of life. For example, the essence of the material body is not the body itself, but the spirit soul that is within the body. Therefore, an intelligent person gives more attention to the eternal spirit soul than to the temporary body. Similarly, although Kali Yuga is considered to be an ocean of contamination, there is also an ocean of good fortune in Kali Yuga, namely the Sankirtan movement. In other words, all of the degraded qualities of this age are completely counteracted by the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Thus, it is stated in the following verse from Vishnu Purana, Dhyayan krite yajana yagyas tretayam dvapare archayan yad apanoti tad apanoti kalo sankirtya keshava. Whatever is achieved in Satyuga by meditation, in Treta by offering ritual sacrifices, and in Dwapar by temple worship is achieved in Kali Yuga by chanting the names of Lord Keshav congregationally. Not just whatever is achieved by that, much more is achieved in this Kali Yuga by chanting. The Vedic process gradually lifts the conditioned entity out of the darkness of ahankar or false identification with the gross material body and brings him to the platform of self-realization or aham brahmasmi. One has to make further progress to discover that although one is eternal, there is a superior eternal entity who is the Lord himself within one's own heart and within every atom in the material universe. Beyond this second phase of self-realization, there is a third and final stage of perfection, which is realization of Bhagwan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not primarily the superintendent of this world, but rather the enjoyer of his own world, which is beyond the most fantastic dreams of the conditioned living entity. In other words, although the king or president of a country is ultimately the controller of the prison department, the king or president derives actual pleasure within his own palace and not in administrating justice to the foolish prisoners. Similarly, the Lord appoints the demigods to administer the material creation on his behalf, while he himself personally enjoys the ocean of transcendental bliss in his own transcendental kingdom. Thus, realization of the Lord within his own kingdom is far superior to the primitive understanding that the Lord is the creator of the prison of the material world. This realization of Bhagwan begins with understanding that there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and that on each of them a particular expansion of Narayan dwells with his innumerable devotees who are attached to that particular form. The central and chief planet in the spiritual sky is called Krishna Loka, and there the personality of Godhead exhibits a supreme and original form of Govinda. So thus, love of Krishna and entrance into Krishna's planet in the spiritual sky is the most supremely perfect and exalted status of life available anywhere, at any time, throughout the totality of existence. So that is the topmost destination one can achieve. And that perfection is available in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Therefore, every sane man, woman, or child should deeply understand the unprecedented opportunity offered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seriously take up this chanting process. Only the most unfortunate and irrational person will neglect this transcendental opportunity. So such a great opportunity, mercy is available to us. All we have to do is take it up more seriously with more determination, more sincerity. That's all. So we'll stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments?
Hare
Okay,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
see you. Hare Krishna.
So, I don't know if Ashok Prabhuji is also there on the call. Yeah.
What's that?
So any updates, Prabhuji? Ashok Prabhuji, any updates you want to give for 30th October?